Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this morning I want to work on embellishing everything we put into place here so we can do something on the leaves. I need to work out how I'm going to stitch the little tendrils, I still can't say the word, around the pumpkin, and might even have a play with the rose. So we're sort of at the stage now of just stitching out this corner. So I've got my box of cottons that are connected to this project. There's a few more sitting in here that we used under the gate over here. So I think the first thing I want to try and work out is what I'm going to do with the pumpkin leaves and then the actual vine that they're connected to. I'm wondering if this thread will do the trick. Is it thick enough? Or should I go something a bit stronger? They're such big leaves, so they can sort of handle a good strong stalk. Maybe that's better. Don't know. Let's just grab a little bit of yarn or cotton or wool. I think it's wool is the right word. And find a needle that has an eye that can handle it. That one there can. Now that's Appleton wool, that one. And the number is 252. It's a pretty green. So let's just see if this is where we want to go with it. Now, I'm thinking, do we want to couch or do we want to stitch? If we couch it, what then do we lay down on top of it? Or do we just want to stitch it? I might stitch first. I sort of like the fluidness of a couched stitch, where we lay it down and then come back over it. I sort of feel like I should be couching it. Let me just get this thread going as well. It's a bit of a thick needle. That's not going to help my cause. Oh my goodness me. At least with couching I can get curves. Okay. Now I could couch it with its own thread, but that would make it quite thick. So I'm wondering, by using a thinner crochet cotton to stitch down that heavier wool, might be just the look. Yeah, that's what I want. I'm happy with that. And like I said, I can sort of get a little curve. The pumpkin leaf itself has little segments about it when you look at it. They're not really segments, it's lots of little fibres along the stems and the veins of the leaves. So I sort of want to capture that a little bit. Okay. Now I'm at the end of the leaf. I'll just catch that down there. And then I sort of just like that. I don't know if I'm going to put any veins. Let's just have a look at what a vein would look like. Yeah. Let's just push the needle through, bring it up the bottom side. And then do we because we could, where it indents, bring a line back there. I don't know. I sort of feel like it's a bit childlike. Like a bit obvious. I sort of like the fact that it's just that one line, to be honest. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not happy with that, I don't think. I can always come back and add it if I decide that it just needs that little extra zhuzh. I think I'd rather stitch some beads in or something. Where are my beads for this? I'm going to end off that. I think I'd rather go down the line of being just a little bit more abstract and whimsical and bringing some beads up the center of those leaves, just for a bit of silliness. Okay, so let's have a play with that idea. Now, beads. Yeah. Some cotton. I nearly said string. Gosh. How non-professional is that? Get your string, get your beads. This one should work. Get your crowbar. Let's stitch them down. Oh, goodness me. All right, let's have a little play. I'm thinking I could use green beads. I might try these and just do, let's get the thread anchored in there first. With a couple little stitches, that's not going anywhere. Then pick up a bead. Do we do 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row, or single? I tend to like single. I don't know why. Yeah, I like that. I might go back towards the base of the leaf, so the beads are part of the connection to the stem. I'm thinking we'll do three little beads where the leaf attaches. So it's a little bit of something without doing the obvious lines. So it's just a sort of a whimsical whatever. No real reason. This is where I was saying in a previous video, my dad would really struggle with this concept because there's no 3 little white dots on the leaf. Where are the veins? He would not get the abstract idea of it. Now I've unthreaded. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Yeah, just as a little detail. I like that. It's subtle, not too overpowering. Yeah, that's going to work a treat. Not if I don't get my stitches right in the back here, but it's not that off because it's just a thread we don't need hanging around at the moment. We can always just come back and do all the beading. Once I've nutted out the process, then it's just a case of go for it. So let's have a look at this wool and see if it's going to be thick enough and obvious enough for those little, I'm sort of feeling it's not. I might need to find a different, yeah, I think I need to change that thread over to something a little bit stronger, darker, thicker. Let's get one of these off. I think there's two there. Do I go down to one? Oh, there's three there. Like it's marginal, the difference, but I think we'll give it a go because just to add degree of difficulty, let's start another thread and colour because can't make it easy on ourselves, can we? Okay. I wonder, oh, now I've pulled the thread out of that needle. Okay, let's get ourselves organised here a little bit. And let's have a go at this guy. So he will just weave in and around. Now I need to get our little thread going that's going to hold all that down. And I might zoom the camera in so you can see, sort of see how this is going to. Okay. So I've started my yarn. Oh, it's not yarn, it's, let's get this down here because I'm clinking. All right, so I'm bringing this thread up to catch the wool. That's it. Then I'm going to bring it up a little bit further along. Start bringing the wool around towards the curve. I've got a little loop here, so where it's going to cross over, I'll bring the needle up, catch it down. Just taking my time to get that shape we want. Oop, completely missed. Look at that, I completely missed the wool. So I just have to stop a moment. Catch that like so. And then around we go with that shape. Yeah, this is what we want. It's a slightly different colour. Anyone who glances at this work will not pick up that I've changed colour here at all. But I sort of feel like it's a stronger green to be sitting out on that background. Sort of more of a contrast to the beige. Yeah, that's going to work a treat. It's not too thick that it loses its nice little curls. I've still left my needle at the end of the wool. It's not in my way, it's just still attached there. Just taking my time to catch those little threads down. I wonder if I can embellish my pumpkin a little more. I think I could do something maybe with beads. There we go, and now we're coming to the end of that little squiggly tendrils. Oh my goodness me. So I'm going to end that off. Okay. Now the couched thread also needs to be ended off. So I'm just taking it down to the back to finish. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to have a few little beads on my leaves. My little tendrils. You're going to be sick of hearing me say all that. Let's do another one. I'll do that one over there. Just to give me a chance to look at this pumpkin and see what embellishing I could sneak onto him. The other thing I've got to work out is the leaves on the vine that are drawn and not fabric going up the side of that panel. How are we going to do those? Do I actually stitch them, embroider them, or do I do a couched effect? Don't know. Just thinking. Around they go. Get my little curve. Okay. Concentrating. Sort of anticipating where the curve will go next, or the wool. I'm getting my needle to come up over there. It's a bit fiddly when you've got tight little curls like this, but it definitely does a tight little curl justice because you get that curved shape beautifully. Where if I had to stitch this, it would have been probably a little bit more jagged due to the fact that you're doing little straight lines. If I had have done tiny, tiny little lines, well then, yeah, you can get a pretty good curve. But when you're using wool, which is thick, you're sort of competing against the yarn as well. So that's where this couching comes in. Okay, I'm right at the end there. Might bring that curl onto the leaf a little bit. Sort of helps with layers in your picture. The leaf is behind it all. Yep. I'll finish that off there, I think. Get all my needles behind. That's it. And now I can just knot everything off. So I think that's going to work a treat. Really happy with that. I might just take the variegated crocheting cotton that I'm using to couch this down and have a play on one of the leaves that is up the top and that is drawn, because I'm thinking I'm going to just do straight stitch and I think I sort of want them to have that shadowy feel. I don't know if that makes sense. Like the main leaf is the fabric one, and a pumpkin leaf's a very strong shape and thickness, and they're quite a heavy leaf. And I'm thinking these little ones that I've sketched in, got needles happening everywhere here, need to be, so we need that and that yarn wool to stay out. So this is a number 12 variegated crochet cotton. Now let's get the camera around here. It's these guys. See how they're daintier? I'm thinking that I'll just do little straight stitches and just straight embroider them on. So they're there but not there. There's enough happening that I think by doing these a little bit more subtly will be quite pretty. It'll give it that lacy effect. And we sort of have a lot of lace and crocheting popping up through the piece to just give it that dainty feel. Might put a thingy on my finger, a thimble, a silicone thimble. Poor old finger, it is getting a bit tender. Doing a lot of stitching. I took 3 days break from stitching. A couple of reasons, mainly to give my finger a little bit of a break. It's starting to feel a bit tender, and I'm working through the orders for my business, getting stock sorted for Christmas. And it just takes concentration, and I've got my needlework sitting beside me and I just want to pick it up, but I really need to just stay focused, get the job done, and then I'm free. You know, March will be time to have a bit of a break, hence why we're having this holiday on a cruise ship. But it's so hard. I keep looking at these leaves and I was thinking about them, and I've had a friend staying, so she's like, aren't you going to film this morning? I'm like, yeah, I should, but I know if I film, I'll just want to do needlework then for the rest of the afternoon. So I just stayed on the laptop, kept working. I was very good. 99% of the way there. I've just got a couple more suppliers to look through their list and see if there's any goodies there that we would like. So stay focused. It's not quite holiday time yet. All right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just a simple little straight stitch. Nothing fancy. I could do a bullion stitch into the center there. Wonder what that'd look like. Let's have a go. Why not? Just as I said I was going to do nothing fancy. Let's have a look at doing a little bullion stitch into the center of that leaf. we got enough? A little bit more. Yep. So now I've got to pull that needle through. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, isn't that cute? It's just given that leaf that little bit of detail. Oh, how sweet. If I do say so myself. Now I'm just going to scoot down this stem with that running stitch. Oh, I'm going to have to do some needlework today. What's today? I'm filming this Monday. When are you guys watching this? I've lost track because I've had a couple of days off over the weekend. I've sort of lost track of when this video will pop up. So this may even be up when we're getting our next prompt. Won't that be exciting? Once again, another Wednesday night where I get no sleep. Thank goodness it's only fortnightly. Okay. Now I'm scooting down that stem. Beautiful. I've got enough to continue up, back up that one stem to catch. Now I'm going to treat the red stripe there as a post. It's a fence post at the edge of the pumpkin patch, and the vine is getting a little bit carried away. So when I do the wrapping of it, to make it look like it is winding up the post, I just sort of need to think about where the stem is either on the front of the post or tucks in behind that red and pops up over here. So that's something I need to be aware of as I'm stitching all that. But I'll do that separately. I won't do it as I'm doing the leaves. Just focus on the leaves, get them right. And then do the stems. Now I'm just scooting along the side of the second leaf. Got a little bit of thread left, so I might as well just finish. See, I've got a hole in my thimble, and then the needle gets caught in it and pulls out the thread. Okay. Wonder what the next prompt's going to be. A couple more stitches and I'm going to run out of thread here. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, I know what I was going to mention. I was listening to the podcast Fibre Talks, and they've interviewed Jennifer Colston. She is the author of our Foolproof Embroidered Flowers book. And would you believe she lives on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, so just north of me, about an hour and a half. So I jumped on her website and she runs classes. So I sent her a contact me email, or not me, but me contacting her to see what her schedule of classes are for this year. And I'm thinking, wow, I couldn't contain myself when there was a map popped up on her website, and I'm looking at it thinking, Caloundra, that's here. With her South African accent, because I've heard her speak before, I thought, oh, she's a South African lady, which technically she is. She's immigrated to Australia, and I thought, wow, she's local. So I was very excited, and I then started having a look at her 2 additional books. The one book I think is the first one she brought out, which is projects with embroidery on them. Where's my cotton gone? There she is. And then the other one is the one we know, and the third one, which I believe, if I don't quote me, is the most recent, is the Crazy Quilt one, where she does all of these little embroidery stitches that we love on top of some fabric that's been pieced together. And I thought, oh, here we go. So yes, I've ordered the books. Now the other reason that I sort of was keen to get that book as well, the Crazy Patchwork Quilting one, is Susanna from Vintage Blend Studios, her project where she gives us a prompt once a month of vintage sewing styles, techniques. A month coming up is crazy quilting and embellishing the panels, if I've got my memory right. Let me just grab that, because maybe I've got myself a bit mixed up, but I think I'm right. Got the instructions here for that project. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked now. It's Vintage Sewing Techniques. If you haven't joined us, come over and join us, because it's really fun. We're working at cross stitch at the moment. Quilting, log cabin, ribbon embroidery, crazy patchwork. Yeah, it's not till August. Yeah, August is when that prompt comes up. There's ribbon embroidery before that, and a log cabin needle turn applique. That's in September. I believe that's the last project. Yeah, because we're at cross stitch February. English paper piecing is next. Cut work and vintage sewing accessories. So yeah, hence why that is sitting in there, little snap thing. Gosh, I'll get sidetracked real easy. Goodness me. So when I saw that Jennifer has this book out, maybe I can find the book. Let me get on to Google. I thought, well, that would be a nice reference to have as I do the prompt for that month. And then I started thinking about my cruise and how I would, be looking for a project. And embroidery is good to take because you don't have to take a lot, I guess. That's the book there. Here we go. Open it up. Foolproof, Crazy Quilting. Look at that. So she's pieced together fabrics and then did embroidery and little flowers. Like, look at those flowers. Come on, Google, give me a better picture than that. See that one there going up through the fabric? How gorgeous. Little ribbons. So I've got that book on its way. And then she had a third one. This one. Now I'm not sure, but I think this was her first publication. So it's got the crazy patchwork quilting and then the embroidery on top of it. Oh, there's pictures, some shoes that she's embroidered, some slippers. So I think this is, 10 projects using her style of stitching. So I was very excited not only to find out that she's a local lady to me, that she is, she has 2 other books, and one of them ties directly into a project coming up later in the year with Susanna. So I was like, wow, wow, wow. Don't you just love it when things come together? Because I must admit, some of those things I read in Susanna's list, I was like, oh boy, I've never done that, or I've got books about that but never tried it. So it's really forcing me to, you know, try something new, and it's been a hoot, absolute hoot. We're not far into the project, so if you did want to join us, or even just pick a couple of them that you haven't done, you may know how to ribbon embroider. We'll skip that month and just do one of the others. So I'm working cross stitch at the moment, some little birds. It was great. Now, I've done a lot of cross stitch, but I haven't done it for years. So it was really nice to revisit I'm doing my bullion stitch, and I'm just thinking for a moment how I'm supposed to do bullion stitch. So I can't wait for the books to arrive. And being that I don't really need them till August, maybe I take some fabric that I've patched together, quilted together, or, you know, created a piece, a background, then just take Jennifer's book and just do a study of stitching. That'd be fun. That way, if I didn't get it done because there were so many activities and I was too busy enjoying the holiday, it wouldn't matter because I haven't really started a project. The Japanese Boro stitch is another one that I thought, well, that's a good, simple, mindful, restful stitch. And I've got a pattern for a rice bag that's sitting there to be stitched. So I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, or I just relax and enjoy the holiday. Someone said to me, just have a break, and they're probably right. Just have a break. But it's hard, you know, a day is a good break for me, and then I start thinking about something, doing something. I can't help myself. Just winding on some thread. It's constantly just seeing that what I've wound onto that needle will fit in the gap of where the needle comes up and goes back down. Not that it's crucial, because if you're a little bit short, it doesn't really matter, because what you do get is a little pointy end to your little bullion stitch, which is often pretty cute when you're doing foliage, because you get a nice taper. Oh, I better finish this leaf and then start having a look at some cottons for that flower, because I did mention that I wanted to get into that a little bit too, because these leaves, once I turn off the camera, I'll go and do some work. I will probably stitch, because everyone's still in bed asleep, so why not? Why should I start work at 6:30 in the morning? I could get a couple hours in of sneaky stitching. So it won't take me long to finish these leaves, and then I'll be sitting there going, oh, what now? Then I'm like, well, I should go and film an episode, because I'm starting a new section and I want you guys to be part of that. So I'll just finish this green cotton off. Oh, I did want to think about that pumpkin. I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get those beads and just bring them down the segments. Whether I'll bring them down the center of the segments or on the outer edges of the segments. I just want to bring a little highlight to them with some beads. So stay tuned. I won't do that now because that'll be pretty simple. I think you'll get the general gist of what I'm thinking there. I've got a good 20 minutes left, so let's get to that flower and have a play with some colours and some stitches, because I really would like to work this corner and then go away from the corner. The other thing I need to do is stitch in around the ground, the bunny and the pumpkin, lots of those beads and French knots and little tussles of stitches just to create the ground underneath our, but I'll save that for a video because that's, gosh, there's a couple hours work just there, and I sort of want to set it up and then go away and stitch. So I won't do that until I'm back with you guys. Okay, so that's a good start on the leaves anyway. We've got a bit of a plan of attack there. And I'm thinking I'll just bring beads down, just, you know, on that pumpkin. Whether I go all the way to the bottom, I probably won't. I'll just sort of sneak across the top just to give that curved feel to him, I'm thinking. Okay, let's have a look at this rose, and my work is going to bump the camera. So let's just turn that edge up a little bit. Okay, so I've got some threads here. That's a good colour. And then that darker. That definitely will work. That's the light colour and white, but we could do with a couple darker colours. That could work. Let's start with him. We'll see how far we go just painting our flower. So I'm going to start in the center and just do what am I going to do? Just some little broad strokes, radiating out, I think. And when you're doing these flowers, like painting them in with thread, you don't have to cover the whole flower. You can pick portions of it to highlight it. That in itself is really fun, and it's not real easy because you sort of want to make it look like you're meant to be there, but you don't want it to look like you didn't finish the task. So you sort of have to think about, what do you want to highlight? The outer petals of the flower or the inside of the flower? I tend to find that I pick a couple tones. I either stay in the dark tones and that's what I stitch, or I stitch the whole thing. Usually, because it sort of can't stop stitching it. Nice sharp needle, so that's good. That makes it a lot more pleasurable. Okay, so now I've got a bit of a shape happening that's curving the other way. So I'm going to start laying thread down across the top ridge here of this flower. Then I'll go looking for all of the little spots that this dark ink on this fabric represents. And you've got to then think, well, do I put them in now and they'll be deep in the petal, or do I stitch the surrounding colour, then come back with the dark thread and make a defined stitch to so that it's a little bit more predominant. They're a lot of fun, these flowers. I don't think there's any rules. I think it's whatever you enjoy doing, whether it's a lot of stitches or a few stitches. I think they're just freedom. I'd love to do more work in this as well. I've got a few nice pieces of fabric that I've picked up that would be gorgeous stitched. There we go. So that's the center of that flower sorted. Now I'm thinking, if you can see, I'll just point it out with the needle. If you can see, there is a smudge of that dark pink there, a little bit over here, here, and here. I'm going to jump out to these two because they're solid, but I'm going to leave those two and then do them once I get the other pink in position, because I think they'll disappear a little bit once the threads start sneaking around them. So I'm going to do this out here next. So once I find out when Jennifer's classes are and make a decision, I'll let you know. So if there's any local ladies that want to join us, I'll let you know the details of the class I'm going to be in, and we can hang out. And we might just learn something. I can guarantee we'll learn something. So stay tuned. I haven't heard too if Sue Spargo's representative has confirmed classes for this year based with Patchwork Angel up on the Sunshine Coast as well. So I'm yet to hear if that's happened. I did hear something on email or Facebook that they've closed their doors, but I think it's due to renovations, but I'm not sure. I've got to find that post and have a bit of a read. There's a lot of roadworks up there at the moment with the expansion of the main highway that goes from Brisbane right through to Cairns. It's sort of, there's work everywhere, and every couple hours you seem to hit roadworks. So whether that's got something to do with it, that they're widening the road there and their business was in a little church. So whether they've resumed some land, I don't know. Don't know. Oh goodness, I've lost I need a bigger eye because that's just too hard. And I just need to get that back in. So that's one colour nutted out. And I'll probably stay within the walls because it gives a nice chunky feel. Let's grab this one and decide which pink. So that guy there is Appleton and he's 145. This guy is a 142. So that's good. We're sort of within the tone. Oh, I keep picking up needles that have small eyes. Talk about make it hard for myself. Okay. Let's have a look at this little guy and see where he's best suited. I'm thinking this colour here. So then it's just a case of pick a spot and start laying down some stitches. These will be quite large stitches. Yeah, that's good. That dark thread that we just used is here as well, but we can come back and place those stitches in easily. That'll create a bit of a curved look to this leaf. I've got to start teaching myself to save some thread by coming up next to the stitch that I just did. I'm very quick to come up, go down, scoot back up here, come up, back up here. You know, I'm wrapping constantly the fabric. So you're using double the thread. I need to be mindful of the cost of these threads and bring my needle back up next to where I went down, so back down here. So now underneath, I've just got a tiny little stitch because I'm saving my thread for the top of the fabric. So I went down up there, so now I'm going to come back up there. I'll do a couple more and then I'll show you the difference on the back. Now I'm back down here, so I've got to come up, back down there and up the top. It'll make a big difference, especially when you're doing a big piece and you're really chewing through the thread. Some of these skeins of threads are up to $9 each. And they don't always come up secondhand around the place, and if they do, you don't have a lot of control over colour. I think I wrapped it then. It's a hard habit to break. Just coming down into the little folds of that petal there. With a few little stitches, and we pretty much have done that. So I've done it again, I'm wrapping it, doesn't matter. It's only tiny, but you'll see the difference on the other side when I turn it over. Okay, so there's my yarn is in here, so I'm yet to do this way. Let's have a look. And there we go. See, there's the difference. That's where I've come up, gone down, straight across the top of the surface, come back up, down. So I've got all this thread sitting on the bottom side, but when I scoot sideways, you get these little itty bitty stitches and you've just saved a lot of thread. So it does mound up. So I'm just going to scoot back up to here because I've hemmed myself into a corner. So I need my thread up there to go again. Yeah, that's going to work a treat. So I'll put some photos at the end of this video of the leaves and how I plan to proceed with those. And I'll nibble away at the flower. Don't know if I'll get it finished, but at least got a bit of a plan. I'm planning on going up to my dad midweek and taking some frozen meals up again, and in amongst that we'll be getting the prompt, but I will be back home by the Thursday and then helter-skelter trying to get these pieces set up with the new prompt, whatever that may be. So it's going to be a busy week. It's always a busy week. When is it not a busy week? coming to a point where I've got this new pink shooting into my area. So I'm going to need to divide my stitch. Get one more across, I think, into smaller little stitches. So I'll just focus on the top edge where I just do some itty bitty ones. Then I'll need to find a new thread that suits those colours and fill it in from there. Or not, because you can do partial stitching. But we'll see. The other question is, do I have enough pinks in my wools? There's a 1, 2, 3, there's 4. That's if I'm counting correctly. There's 4 pinks. Do I own that many wools that are... I could bring in embroidery cotton, but it gives it a completely different look again. So I wouldn't mind staying within the yarns or the wools. But that, we'll see how we go. I might have to pick some up in my travels and then come back to it. I know I've got a cream, and I'm pretty sure I've got a pale pink. Gosh, now I've unthreaded my needle right at the last few minutes. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to think too hard when you're doing these, I reckon. You work out what colours you're doing and your stitches, and then you sort of just relax into the painting of it. It's really good. It does munch your yarn up, but so if you only got a few threads, you might want to find flowers that are smallish. I've got this crazy one down here too that needs some form of thought put towards it. Then there's the leaves, the grey leaves. Now I know I don't have grey, so I'd have to invest in some of those colours. But the beautiful thing about these pieces is we'll be working on these for years to come, because this, how much do you want to do is the question. You just keep going. There's no reason why this piece can't be picked up in a few years' time, and you add another element and away you go again. That's the beauty of these pieces. I've got a few that every time I walk past, I'll think, oh, that scrap would look great on that. So I just grab a needle and thread and I just go and stitch it on. It's like they're constantly evolving. It'd be nice to say they are finished, but I don't know. I tend to find that I'm pulling them out, or I'll just grab them and take them with me on a road trip and then just put some stitches on them. The more you can stitch in them, the more interesting they become. And you can't rush that, I don't think anyway. Even though I feel like I'm rushing through these pieces at times, but I am doing, a lot of pieces. There's a little bit of wool there. Do I waste it? No, I'll finish it off. Stop being so stingy. All right, guys, that's worked out perfectly. You've given me heaps of homework. I know where I'm heading with these pieces. The only thing I really didn't show you is my exact thoughts with that pumpkin, but I think you'll get the gist of it. Just a scattering of little beads to give him some form of interest. And then I'll nibble away at the flower here as well. There's plenty I can do there. Oh gosh, there's so much work I could do. All right, guys. look after yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video. Okay, bye for now.